think we're live. Let me see. No. Switch to the USB mic. There we go. Hopefully my audio is coming in clear. So if you're watching this after the deadline, this is a video that is being posted. Technically I'm live right now, but if you're watching this after the live stream, thanks for watching. I wanted to go through all the trades that happened today, or at least most of them, because as we all know, there was actually quite a bit for once during the NHL trade deadline. So hopefully a bunch of people will come in here and we can discuss as well. But I'm going to be just recapping everything that happened. And hopefully, like I said, there'll be some people here that want to discuss as well. We got Corey McNabb here. What's going on? So once we get some people in here, we'll start discussing everything that went down. Let me just quickly post this on Twitter. So if you are in here, thank you for watching. Okay. Hopefully, once I tweet this out, there'll be some more people coming through. Sorry, guys. All right. Got 5 people watching right now. I know it's only 5:30, so I figured there wouldn't be a ton of people right off the bat. But yeah, Nashville made a couple really good trades. The Granlund trade for Kevin Fiala actually was pretty good. That's a solid pickup. I mean, we're talking about Granlund is a pretty solid player, 26 years old, 49 points in 63 games this season. Like, you can't ask for more in a trade. Fiala's not bad, but I mean, looking at his numbers, 32 points in 64 games, you're definitely upgrading, but there is a chance Fiala, can play pretty well. He can play pretty well outside of Minnesota or outside of Nashville. So it's a pretty solid trade, if I do say so myself. But yeah, interesting day. Lots of trades happen, of course. If you're a Leafs fan like myself, they made a late trade, a minor trade. I made a video about it as well, but just to quickly recap, Winnipeg Jets acquire Per Lindholm from the Toronto Maple Leafs for forward Nicholas Petan. Good move for them, for both teams, really. Per Lindholm's a guy that can fit into their depth pretty well for the game they're trying to play. Petan probably fits more of the Leafs system, if I'm being honest, and I actually think it was pretty solid for them to do that. Winnipeg also acquired Nathan Beaulieu from the Buffalo Sabres for a 6th-round pick in 2019, so they did quite a lot. St. Louis acquired Michael Del Zotto from the Anaheim Ducks for a 2019 6th-round pick, so lots of moves were made. Of course, the biggest move of the day, made a video on it as well, Mark Stone and Tobias Lindberg from Ottawa for defenseman Eric Brandstrom, who is a very highly touted prospect, forward Oscar Lindberg, and a 2020 2nd-round pick. So a lot of big moves happening in Vegas in the last couple of years. Of course, being an expansion team, brand new, they only had a couple of years to make some big moves, but they've actually been making significant trades and signings, which is really cool. That Granlund trade, Nashville acquiring Granlund from Minnesota for Kevin Fiala, again, just a really good trade for them. Winnipeg made the most trades today, which is really cool. Vancouver Canucks, they got Tanner Pearson. They got rid of Goodbranson. That's a trade I think a lot of people were kind of frowning upon. Pittsburgh fans, of course, because I don't think they believe Goodbranson's really that good. Funny enough, no pun intended, but Tanner Pearson might be a guy that could fit into the system in Vancouver. They both have 2 more years on their deals, so either way, they're getting they're just swapping salary, basically. They're swapping 2 players. They don't really have a fit on either team before, so they're going to try it now. Pittsburgh also got Chris Weidman, so they're trying to get some defensive depth, it seems, for John Sebastian Day, which I guess that's a good trade for them when it comes to Florida. Wasted Hockey, what's going on, man? Colorado got Derek Brassard and a conditional 2020 6th-round pick from Florida for a 2020 3rd-round pick. Now, we did know that Brassard was probably going to get traded by Florida, so that kind of makes sense for them. Winnipeg reacquired Matt Hendricks from Minnesota for a 2020 7th-round pick. Another significant trade. Boston acquired Marcus Johansson from the New Jersey Devils for a 2019 2nd and a 2020 4th. So, excuse me, just a good trade for Boston. They just get even more dangerous, it seems like. Makes sense for Boston to go after a guy who can play in the top 6, maybe slide to the 3rd line. They've got a lot of depth, and they wanted to acquire somebody else, of course. How many viewers do we have in here? 17. So what's up? You guys can comment as well, and I'll try to answer as much as I can. We're going to be talking about all the trades right now. Like I said, talking about the Marcus Johansson trade. Wasted Hockey says Nick Patan is going to break out in Toronto. Hopefully, that'd be pretty nice. I was just talking about that trade, basically saying that it made sense for the Leafs to try to acquire a guy who's a little bit quicker. And I think that Patan will probably fit in a little better with the Leafs. Trevor Moore got called up as well, so he'll be playing tonight. Kadri's still out, and Patan's obviously not going to be playing tonight. But again, back to that Bruins trade. Let's look at Johansson real quick here. 28 years old, 27 points in 48 games played. But we do know he's had a pretty decent career with the New Jersey Devils. He's scored 20 goals twice in his career. And yeah, a pretty solid player. Rob Black says no Wayne Simmonds trade. If you're a Leaf fan, obviously not to the Leafs, but Simmonds did get traded today. It was a good trade as well. They didn't really have to do a lot. Yeah, exactly. Right there, he got traded to Nashville, as you guys can see there. I don't know if I'm sold on the fact that Simmonds would have been, okay to go to the Leafs for the return that was given, because I think that while I like Simmonds the way he plays, he's a tougher guy. He's, obviously a guy that isn't afraid to fight, and he can put up some points. He is kind of a little overrated. He's not really putting up the numbers that he used to. So just looking at the Simmonds trade to the Predators, I'm trying to click on this link here they had about the trade. For some reason, they don't have it officially put into here, which doesn't make sense because the trade is done. Let me just pull something else up here because we're going to take a look here. I know a lot of people wanted the Leafs to trade for him, but I just don't think that they feel like he makes sense in their system, which I don't know. That's up to you to decide if you believe that. Ryan Hartman got traded as well from the Nashville Predators, and again, he's a guy that the Leafs could have probably matched when it comes to prospect wise because he's not really a prospect anymore. A conditional 4th-round pick as well. That's definitely not what they were looking for Simmonds. I know they wanted more in that deal, but I don't know. Maybe the Leafs just didn't feel like he was going to make sense on their team, which I guess that's fair. I think that he probably could have, but again, that's up to you for you to decide if you feel like the Leafs should have got him. I know a lot of people probably are upset with the Leafs trade deadline, but might I also add to you guys, people are forgetting that Dubas did acquire Jake Muzzin, which is a guy who should be playing on the top 2. And Babcock just seems to want to play Hainsey there. What's up, Mr. Shea? Do I still have to call you Mr. Shea? That's formerly my teacher, if people are wondering. Big day, man. Yes, it was a big day for trades. I was at work, so I didn't get to watch, which sucks. But Ferland didn't move. Rob Black, he didn't get traded. Fiala for Granlund had me like, what? Did they give up more for Granlund? Yeah, that call me Shea. Okay, good, because I was like, I don't know if I have to say that anymore. But yeah, no, that Granlund trade was a little weird to me. I thought that was just a solid pickup for Nashville. It makes more sense for Nashville than it does for Minnesota. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. Sorry, guys, just got to respond here to a message. Anyways, no, I don't have. I'm out of school. I'm out of school now, so I don't have a teacher anymore. But Jonathan Dahlin from Vancouver to San Jose for Linus Karlsson. Adam McQuaid, another guy that the Leafs were looking at, although I'm very happy the Leafs didn't get him because I think he's a pylon. Columbus acquired Adam McQuaid from the Rangers for defenseman Julius Bergman, a 2019 fourth-round pick and a 2019 seventh-round pick. Too many picks, even though they're not significant. Adam McQuaid is a pylon. That's just it. He's not a good defenseman. People think that just because a guy hits people, like this is what I tried to explain to people when they were telling me the Leafs needed toughness. It's like it's the same reason why Boston Bruins fans are a little bit hesitant on Chara right now, is because Chara, yeah, he's had a fantastic career. He hits people, whatever. But if you can't catch up to these players anymore, then you're useless. Like Adam McQuaid is going to get skated by every single time. Like, the guy is not fast. Like, he can try to hit you all day, but, like, players who are faster than him, which is 99% of the league, are going to blow right past him. So Columbus acquired him. Good for them. I just think he's not worth anything, to be honest with you. Edrit, what's going on, man? Thanks for stopping by the stream. How many viewers we got in there? You can hear my dog probably in the background, but she's saying hello to somebody outside, I'm sure. We got 19 viewers in here right now. Thank you for stopping by so far. We're just discussing the NHL trade deadline and the moves that happened. Carolina acquired Thomas Yurko from Florida for future considerations. Panthers also acquire Cliff Pu from the Hurricanes for future considerations. That one, Cliff Pu, is actually an interesting prospect. I believe he was with the London Knights organization. He might still be there. I'm not sure, but that's interesting for them. The Kevin Hayes trade, I also put a video up on that. Brendan Lemieux, a 2019 first-round pick and a 2022 conditional fourth. And I believe the condition on the fourth-round pick is that the Jets have to make it to the Stanley Cup Finals this year. So we'll have to see if that happens, which is a very good possibility. Kevin Hayes slides right into their lineup very easily. 26, 42 points in 51 games played. Again, a really good pickup for Winnipeg there. They made a lot of moves. I believe they had 6 transactions today. So Sundale saying, disappointed how we still have Zaitsev, Gauthier, Gardner, and Sparks. Now, Zaitsev was never going to get traded before the deadline. That's probably going to happen before July 1st. Freddie the GOAT has been actually pretty good this year. I'm not sure why people don't like him. I think he's been actually fantastic for the Leafs considering his role. Jake Gardner, again, another guy that people seem to hate. But if you get rid of Jake Gardner, this defensive core is absolutely awful. So you need to keep him. And Sparks is a cheap young goaltender that the Leafs weren't going to move for nothing. And that's basically what would have happened. When are we talking about Brandwagon and Stone? I talked about it a little bit at the beginning, but trust me, we will get back into it. Vegas Golden Knights coverage. Go click on that link and subscribe. I'd appreciate if you did, man. That's part of his videos. If you don't watch his videos, and you definitely should. So go and subscribe there. Yes, Toronto did make one minor trade. I was going to discuss with you later anyways, but Par Lindholm for Nick Petan. Par Lindholm, obviously on the fourth line. Nice guy. I met him in person a couple times. Very, very nice guy. Just didn't really work out the way that Toronto expected. And, you know, he was good for what he was worth, but Nick Petan's a younger player who has a chance to break out in Toronto. Winnipeg didn't have minutes for him. And if he can break out in Toronto, that's best for business. And apparently he will be on the Leafs. Won't be tonight, but we'll have to see what happens. Trevor Moore seems to be a full-time Leaf for now. So good depth trade, I guess, for the Leafs. Who were you expecting Leafs would get in trade? Can I be honest with you guys? I expected the Leafs to do absolutely nothing. I thought that the Leafs didn't have to mortgage their future. Some of the prices were absolutely ridiculous for some of these players today. There were some definite overpayments. And, yeah, I don't know. I think that the Leafs lucked out by not overpaying for some players. Now, I think I've gotten through most of the big stuff. A video I didn't make was on Gustav Nyquist getting traded from Detroit. He got traded for a 2019 second and a 2020 conditional third. So I actually don't mind that trade. I actually think there was good good picks involved in that trade. Also, yesterday, if people didn't realize, the Leafs made a very, very minor trade for Nick Baptiste from Nashville for future considerations. So that was just more of a depth Marlies type of move. But again, those are most of the trades that happened today. I don't think any more are coming through now. It's already 5:30. I don't expect anything else to be happening. Obviously, should be done now. But the big trade of the day, of course, Mark Stone going to the Vegas Golden Knights. And like I mentioned before, Stone is a guy who puts up a lot of points. He's a guy that can slide right into Vegas. Is probably their first line. Let's be real here. They also got Tobias Lindbergh, who bounced around from, I believe, Ottawa to Toronto to Vegas. And now they're, like it's just, no, where did Lindbergh come from? He was part of the Phaneuf trade. So maybe Lindbergh did end up back in Ottawa, but I know he went through Toronto as well, but he bounced around quite a bit. But Brandstrom, that's a huge prospect for Ottawa to acquire. But I also think that Vegas lucked out because, you're getting rid of a top prospect, but you're signing a guy after you traded for him to a long-term deal. So that's very good. Like, you're getting a very good player for a long time. So that's pretty cool without having to give up a first-round pick, but you did give up a pretty elite prospect. So I thought it was a pretty good trade for the Vegas Golden Knights, of course. Now, what else is in here? Lightning are going to choke in the playoffs. Yeah, I don't think they're going to choke, man. Tampa's very, very good. They didn't make a move today, as you guys seen, probably, but I can't see how Tampa would ever choke in the playoffs. They're just too good of a team. And I don't know. This year they look just very dangerous. I know sometimes they haven't looked as dangerous, but this year they definitely do. Don't be late for the game tonight. I won't. Sparks makes me nervous. Lately, I haven't really been against Sparks because I think that, again, he also doesn't play very much. So when you've got a goaltender that's sitting all the time, it kind of takes you out of the game a little bit because you're almost expecting not to play, and then sometimes you get tossed in. I know they always say, I'm always ready to go, but there's still that mindset where you're not sure if you're even going to play. It's tough for Sparks. I think he's been doing okay. Canadian Jock, what's up, man? Everybody go subscribe to Canadian Jock. Why is Babcock not playing Muzzin with Riley? Well, I wish I could tell you the answer. It frustrates me on a daily basis. I really think that Muzzin needs to be there. I'm okay with them, moving the other pairs around, but Muzzin and Riley has to be that top pairing. If it was up to me, I would have, in the playoffs, you're going with your best top four. So it would be Riley and Muzzin, Gardner and Dermott, and then your bottom pairing is Zaitsev and Hainsey. Now, a lot of people would be like, oh, man, that bottom pairing. But again, they'll be sheltered against probably limited minutes. Your top four is going to be out there all the time. And there's a reason why they traded for Muzzin. He needs to play those big minutes. He's played with Doughty. He's played with all these other defensemen who in LA who actually get minutes. Like, this guy should be playing 23 minutes a night, no doubt. And he's just not. So I don't know. If I'm the Leafs, I'm also taking a look at one of the Marlies guys, Borgman, Rosen, Liljegren. Sandin's not ready, but a lot of people will say that. Liljegren might not be ready either, but people want a guy who can hit and defend decently. Like, Andreas Borgman should at least be given a shot because he actually will hit people. And Rosen's very talented as well. So I'd like to see both of them get a shot. I would swap out Rosen and Borgman for Hainsey and Zaitsev any day of the week. I'd even give Justin Hall a look, although I like Justin Hall, but I don't think he's as good as advertised. But again, that's your opinion, anybody's opinion. Will you be going live during the playoffs? I'll try to do some games, maybe not Leafs games. Maybe I'll try to do that, but there's a lot of cursing involved when I watch Leafs games. So unfortunately, I don't know if I'll be able to stream those. I'm depressed, Wayne. Yeah, that sucks for you guys. I think Wayne Simmonds wasn't really good this year. Of course, he's been great for the Flyers over time. I'm a fan of Wayne Simmonds. You guys didn't get the return you were looking for, but I think that's mainly because Simmonds hasn't been that great this year. So any of them right-handed. Liljegren is right-handed, and he might be the one that's not ready, but they might give him a shot. Dubas said he wanted to. Borgman and Rosen are both left-handed shots. Not even like the trade was good. Yeah, the trade wasn't really, I think, what people were expecting. Also, I want to throw a random stat at you guys because I think it's hilarious. And I don't know if he's still leading, but it was as of yesterday. Ron Hainsey was leading the NHL in plus minus. He's like a plus 30, which is just crazy. Like Ron Hainsey's like a plus 30, and that's mainly because he's playing with Morgan Riley. I don't know how that's even possible. Plus minus is kind of a useless stat anyways, but will the Leafs be as dangerous in the playoffs if they get behind bigly like the other night? Oh, like if they get behind like 3-0. In the playoffs, it's much different. You can't do that all the time. Forgot to ask, but is Montour playing today for the Sabres? Oh yeah, I've heard Montour's not playing tonight. I don't know. Let's check it out because for some reason I feel like he should be, but he's not. Let's see, Brandon Montour. Let's look at it. I don't think he is. There probably would have been something. I would expect he's playing tonight. I actually think I saw that he is playing tonight. I would expect him in the lineup. But again, there's the odd chance that he's not playing. Do you think Freddie the GOAT comes out of the lineup now with Patan? Yeah, I think so. I think for sure he comes out of the lineup, which is unfortunate because I do think Freddie the GOAT was okay this year. I don't know. He's in Toronto but not playing tonight. Who? Montour or Patan? I know for sure Patan's not playing because Trevor Moore's sliding into the lineup tonight, but I thought for sure Brandon Montour was also in the lineup. We'll have to check that out. Brandon Montour. Yeah, Montour. Okay, so maybe he's not playing. That's weird. I would have expected him to play. Yeah, he's not playing tonight. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to double check that. It's not like I don't believe you guys. It's just I figured I might as well double check just in case something changed in the last couple minutes. You never know. What happens all the time. Danish or Danish Mahmood. I think it's Mahmood. Don't want to mispronounce your name, but thanks for the update there and saying that Montour is not playing. Good on that. Tea bags. That's funny. How do you feel about the Leafs not making any worthwhile deals today? I keep trying to tell people the worthwhile deal already came. Jake Muzzin, and he should be playing on the top pairing, but he's not because Mike Babcock isn't playing him there, which is weird. Fire Strike, how's it going, man? Hey, later, Andrew. Thanks for coming, Sundeal. Columbus is now a contender. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people would have considered them a contender before the deal that they made with Duchesne and, of course, with Dzingel and all that. They've just gotten rid of a bunch of picks, and they got they got a pylon today in Adam McQuaid. And I'm not trying to be an ass, but I just don't think McQuaid's very good. But yeah, the Blue Jackets are a good team. They're a contender. Fire Strike, yep, I seen that because I already have a video I posted about an hour ago that the Leafs made that deal for Patan. I actually do like the deal. I think Patan is actually going to fit better than some of the guys that the Leafs had. Do you think Mojo going to Boston will make a difference when they face the Leafs in the postseason? Of course it will. You got to remember, any player that has a name like Johansson, he's quite good. He hasn't been having like the best season, but he scored 20 goals a couple times in his career, and he's a good player. Just adds to their depth. Would you have dealt Brown plus the fourth for Simmonds? Yeah, I would have, but I don't know if Philly was looking for a guy with term because apparently Brown was out there today, but I also don't think the Leafs don't want to get rid of Brown until the offseason. Leafs just called up Moore. Yeah, that happened. They knew that they were going to call up Moore earlier, and the press release already came out. I retweeted it on Twitter. So, yeah, I don't know. It makes sense, I guess. Oh, okay. Fire Strike. Eric Stahl extends with Minnesota. Let's check that out. Breaking news. Eric Stahl extends his contract with Minnesota on a 2-year deal with an AAV of 3.25, including 3.5 next season and $3 million the year after that. He would have been a UFA on July 1st. That's a really good deal. If Eric Stahl continues to contribute the way he has in Minnesota, that's a solid deal. So he really wanted to stay there. Yeah, I don't know. That's a pretty solid deal. Lindholm for Patan is a low key heist. Yeah, again, Brandon, it's probably low key, like you said. It's a good trade, but it's nothing too crazy. But if Patan can click with the Leafs lineup, he's got some potential. What do you think Nylander playing center for the rest of the season and adding Kadri on the wing? A lot of people have suggested that. I actually think Nylander's been the best Leaf right for a while, like for the past 3 or 4 weeks. Like Nylander's been fantastic. So if it means him staying at center, he's been good on the wing, but he's been really good at center. Honestly, it doesn't matter. I think the Leafs just want to win hockey games, and whatever they have to do to win, that's what they're gonna do. Simmonds made Nashville Western Conference finalists. Oh, maybe. Simmonds and Nashville are gonna fit. It's a good fit. Butcher, Nylander looks good at center. Yeah, he really does. And again, people were all over me saying that Nylander was garbage and whatever, but Nylander's been fantastic lately, and it just shows you that it's not just about scoring goals. Like, he's had chances, and he looks real good. I'm really happy about Nylander, and like I said, people just had to be patient. He looks fantastic. You like Johansson to the Bees, to the Bruins, Johansson to the Bruins? Yeah, it was John. That's a great trade for the Bruins. Just added depth for them to an already great team. It gives Kadri the chance to be an agitator. I mean, he always is, but yeah, I guess, yeah, less responsibility, I guess. Yeah, it's true. Nylander will not be dealt this summer, Sean. It will not happen. Stone to sign a $9.5 million contract in Vegas, which equals 12 million Canadian due to tax-free stay in Vegas. I heard it was actually like 13 million. So he's getting quite a good deal there. Do you think the Leafs can beat Boston this year? I think they can. They've got so much scoring. People seem to forget that Tavares is a Leaf, and they got Muzzin, who should be playing more minutes. They're going to be fine. I'm glad the Leafs didn't get McQuaid. He's a little too slow for their style of game. Thank you, Butcher. Finally, somebody that like actually agrees with me, because McQuaid was not made for the Leafs. Like, it wouldn't have been a good trade. Try the Nylander or Kadri at center with Moore and Patan. Roll fourth lines. Yeah, that could work, I guess, but I don't know. I just don't think that it makes sense to put one of those guys on the fourth line. Unless I guess your Brandon, your suggestion could work. It depends on where they place Marleau, though, because I don't really want Marleau to play a lot. Yeah, Ferland, I thought he was going to get traded too. That's another thing. There were some names not traded today. I knew Panarin and Bobrovsky weren't going to do anything. I think the Leafs should roll fourth line less and give Tavares and Matthews line more minutes. Yeah, I would agree. They probably could do that. I'd like to see Nylander play with Matthews as well. Leafs were looking at both Ferland and Hamilton. Was that a report? Because as much as I want to believe that, I don't think that the Leafs were looking at both of them. I just think that maybe they could have looked at them, but I don't think that it would have been a deal that they would have made. It just would have cost them way too much. Nylander should be reunited with Matthews when Kadri comes back. I agree. I really do. I really do agree, Butcher. If the rumors are true about Anaheim willing to trade Manson, what do you think the Leafs would have to offer offseason? I don't know. I think Manson's good, and of course he'd be a top 4 guy. And you're probably looking at a high pick, like a first or a second. If you can unload Brown in that deal, you give them a second round pick as well, depending on. Again, I would almost want to unload Zaitsev as well, so that to make it an even bigger trade. That'd be too difficult. I'd actually like to make a video on that, so that's a good idea. But it would have to. I would think the Leafs would want to unload some cap if they were going to make a trade for another defenseman. Butcher, me and you are just clicking today. We're agreeing. Psyched to see more of Moore. Dude, I agree. I think he's a Leaf. He's got to be a full-time Leaf. There was a rumor Benning and Cassian for Cappy, bro. That's awful. That would never happen. Benning and Cassian are not even close to what Kapanen's value is. That would have been the worst trade of all time. Man, Columbus got a hell of a lot better, huh? Yeah, they did. They got a lot of players, man. What do you think of the Jets' moves today? Feels like they were making moves to just make moves other than Hayes. You know what? I think the Jets are in a really good position, and they were able to make those moves because of their GM being given the green light to just do what he had to do. So I actually like the moves they made. I even like the Par Lindholm acquisition for them. Obviously, I'm a Leafs fan, so it's just a little bit biased for me to say that. But yeah, I don't know. Solid trade. Are solid trades for them. I still think that a trade will happen between Carolina and the Leafs in the offseason. I'd have to agree. I think that there's going to be a lot of moving pieces in the summer, and I think Carolina and the Leafs have seen too much of each other not to do something. But to counterpoint Butcher here, because I think he's kind of on the same wave as me, I don't see why the Leafs would want to trade with Carolina right now, especially if it made both teams better. Like, you're kind of in a race against each other at this point because the playoffs coming. You don't want to see that player you traded to Carolina or to the Leafs. If Carolina gets in, like, they could bite you in the playoffs. You know what I mean? So I think that was for the summer. I really do. I agree with Butcher. It was for Brown, not Cappy. Yeah, no, Brown was definitely apparently contacted. Well, Dubas was contacted about Brown, but I wouldn't have even made that trade for Brown. Like, that doesn't make sense for us. I don't think Cassian or Benning plays the style that the Leafs need. So Winnipeg is a big team, and they should go further than any other Canadian team. I'd have to agree. They look like the best Canadian team, but Calgary is up there, and of course Toronto's been playing good, but Winnipeg and Calgary are dangerous. Columbus is playoff team now after the Ottawa trade. Of course. I mean, they got a couple really good players. So do you think the Leafs can catch Boston and get home ice for the playoffs? Because I think they can, but Boston been the hottest team in the league. Yeah, again, Bergeron, Pasternak, Marchand, they've just got, like, McAvoy. They've got talent. Johansson now. I hope they can catch up, and I think the Leafs can. They've got a pretty decently easy schedule. I think they're in the bottom 5 for when it comes to easy schedules, which, well, top 5 if you're considering how easy it is, so that's good. Dubas needs to trade Zaitsev at the draft, right? It has to happen before July 1st. It's got to happen because July 1st is when he's got a no trade clause that kicks in. Why Marincin not on the Leafs defense? Marincin, I don't think, plays the style that Dubas nor Babcock really want in the lineup. I think they feel like they've got better options. Although, I mean, Marincin, I don't really know if he'd be better than Hainsey. Maybe. I don't know. It's a toss-up. I still don't see the Blue Jackets doing any damage in the playoffs. I think it's a huge risk they're taking. I think they will do damage. I think Dzingel's a sleeper when it comes to how good he is. And, of course, Duchesne's fantastic. And I guess they got McQuaid for toughness. Bobrovsky can step it up. Panarin's a fantastic goal scorer. I think they'll be fine. Blue Jackets will win a round for sure. Oh, yeah, I think they will. I didn't think a significant trade would happen between the Leafs and any team until the offseason, and I think it will involve Johansson with Kapanen signing a bridge with the Leafs. Yeah, that's a very good possibility, Butcher. The Leafs have a lot of forwards. They can be a little bit expendable, but if you can get Johansson and Kapanen signed to bridge deals and you can unload probably Zaitsev and Brown, I think the Leafs will be in a much better spot next year. And I don't think people are putting it out of the question that Liljegren and Sandin can fight for a spot next year on that blue line. And Rosen, he's going to be up there. He signed a 2-year extension under $1 million at like $725, I believe. So I think that the Leafs are going to be a better team even next year because they're going to be bringing in some new defensive prospects. I think it's going to be good. I think Dubas likes Marincin, but Babs doesn't. Actually, I happen to think it's the other way around. But, Brandon, you could be right. Riley, Hainsey, Muzz, Gardner, Zaitsev, Dermott. Thoughts? You got to go Riley, Muzzin. It has to be Riley, Muzzin, Dermott, Gardner, Zaitsev, Hainsey. You got to play your best top 4 defensemen. And if I was the GM and I was the coach, I would have Rosen up with the Leafs right now. He's got to be better than Hainsey. And like Justin Hall might be better than Zaitsev. Like, you don't know. Like, Liljegren might even be able to step in. I don't know. I just think that the Leafs need to play their best 4 defensemen. Justin Hall, yeah, it's unfortunate, but I don't know what the Leafs are doing with him. When do you think they'll call up Liljegren? Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'd like to see them get a shot. I don't know if most of you guys know, but Dubas said in a press conference right around the time that they signed Nylander that Liljegren was going to get called up kind of like the Dermott situation, but he got that high ankle sprain. So I'd be interested to see if he gets called up. Which players with the Marlies do you think will make the Leafs next year, excluding the D? Well, it's going to be Trevor Moore, of course. We know he's up. There's a good chance Pierre Engvall is going to get up because he's been playing quite well at the center position. Other than that, I don't think that there's any guaranteed lock-ins, but I think the Leafs are going to be looking at those two for sure. Who's the other guy I'm thinking of? Nah, honestly, I think those are the two. I don't think the Leafs are going to have to make too many call-ups, but definitely those two. Would you give Hall an extended look soon? Yeah, I would. I really would. But who are you taking out of the lineup? It was even reported that if the Leafs got another defenseman, Babcock was going to take Dermott out of the lineup, which I don't know how accurate that is, but oh boy, that would have caused a lot of bad crap on Twitter. That's for sure. I actually think Liljegren doesn't need more experience. I think he's actually done quite well. He's been getting top minutes. Besides the injury, he's been doing power play, penalty kill, playing against top lines in the AHL, of course, but still against good prospects in some teams. I think he's good. Why do you think the Senators went from first to last? It might have been a Cinderella team. Craig Anderson was good. And of course, Carlson and all these other guys, like they just had career years. And I don't know. It's unfortunate for Ottawa fans, but they missed out on being a good team for a couple of years, but they had to make the moves now. Am I the only one that thinks the Sens won the trade? Brannstrom is an absolute stud. Yeah, I actually really do think. Oh, yeah, Brandon Bracco as well. He has an outside chance. But, yeah, Brannstrom's a fantastic prospect. Zach, what's going on, man? Max, do you think Babcock is going to come to his senses and finally ice an ideal lineup for more than 1 or 2 games? Max, I hope you're correct because Babcock needs to ice a better lineup. Zaitsev against Boston will be a disaster. Yeah, I mean, we've already seen that once before. Par Lindholm did okay for us before he got traded. He was a good person to know. I liked Par Lindholm. Met him a couple times, like I said. Good guy. Unfortunately, he had to go, but Patan's going to be real good. Zach, go Leafs go. We got Tareen saying go Leafs go. We got Grant saying Babs needs to go. That was a kind of a funny stretch there. Babcock doesn't need to go. It's just he's got to put his best lineup out there. I miss Brandwagon. He has a lot of potential. But you know what? You got Big Stone there. I liked Vegas's tweet saying we got stoned. That was hilarious. Mitchell, hey, oops, hit the keyboard. How's it going, Mitchell? What's going on, brother? I know Leaf fans won't agree, but I really don't like Hall's game in the NHL from the sample size I've seen. Excuse me, Butcher, I kind of agree. He seems slow to react and is out of position many times. Until they give him an extended look, that's when we'll know for sure. But I happen to share that opinion. And again, for some reason, we're agreeing on everything today. But yeah, I don't know. Butcher's not really Hall is not really the guy I'd give a chance to. Do you think Goat should be in the lineup? I've liked his game so far, but I don't think he's going to stay in there if Patan's playing. Babcock's a great coach. I don't know why so many people think he needs to go. Ever since he's went there, he's turned around the team to a playoff contender. Yeah, I think that they're just mad at the lineups he's been making as of late. It just hasn't been his best lineup that he can put together. And I think that he has a chance to put together a better lineup if he actually, sits down and looks at the extended numbers, because a lot of those numbers show that Hainsey's not a good defenseman. Hey, what do you think of the Bruins roster right now and how they match up against the Leafs? Well, we know that Boston doesn't have as much scoring as Toronto, but that top line can outscore anybody at any given night. I think that Bergeron, Pasternak, and Marchand and McAvoy and all these guys are fantastic. Tuukka Rask can be a good goaltender, although the Leafs have had his number. It would be interesting to see how they match up, but I still think Boston has a slight edge. And I know Leaf fans are going to be mad at me for that, but I really, really like Boston's team, even though I'm a huge Leaf fan. I'm not a fan of Boston whatsoever, don't get me wrong, but I'm a fan of the way they constructed their team. As bad as it sounds, an injury to Zaitsev would actually help the Leafs a time before the playoffs to force a change. I don't want to see him get hurt. I'd just rather that him be in the press box, to be honest. Kadri is the Leafs' heart and soul. Sean, Kadri's my favorite player, always will be. Love the guy. And I agree with you. I got heat for saying he should have been the captain last year, but again, That's just my biased opinion. Everyone says that his size is what people are afraid of, but players are getting smaller. I don't know. Got to stick with what we got. Glass is still there. Thank Jesus, and Stone for 8 years. Yep, I think you tied it up real well. I think that the Branstrom's a good prospect, but Stone's a real good player. Love that Crawford is returning. Yep, that's a big move for Chicago, getting him back. I'm very excited that he's healthy. Very good guy, and I'm pretty sure he's on one of my fantasy teams. Alvin, what's going on, brother? Alvin's been a day one supporter. Appreciate you, man, always. Will the Bruins bully the Leafs physically? I don't think so. What's up, Zach? Let me just see here. Okay. Gauthier has played well. Gauthier has played well all year, and with Moore on his line, they'll spend more time in the offensive zone. Yeah, I happen to agree with that as well. Gauthier and Brown have looked real good together. Moore. What do you think of Burke's rant about trading Nylander? Nylander definitely screwed this guy in the past. I mean, I could care less what Burke is saying because there's a reason why he's been fired multiple times. They're not trading Nylander. Leafs should have went for McQuaid. No, McQuaid is a pylon. Avalanche too overpowered? I don't think so. I know that they picked up Brassard today, but they're pretty good. I don't think they're overpowered. Is Patan taking over par, or is Travis taking over? Travis? What are you talking about? What am I reading this wrong, Tyler? Patan, or Travis? What? Travis Dermott? Dermott's a defenseman, my guy. I don't know, but Patan's gonna play on the fourth line. Scratching Zaitsev would probably make him impossible to trade if he isn't already. Yeah, Brandon, that's also another good point. Leafs can absolutely beat the Bruins. They have more forward depth, and the Leafs have the remaining season to fine-tune the top three lines. Yeah, that's also true. I really do think that they're going to be fine, and I do think that they can win. I think the Leafs are due to beat Boston. I like hearing that. San Jose Tampa Cup final, or what's your prediction? Because I'm a Leaf fan, I want the Leafs to get there, but I'm going to say Tampa and Winnipeg. I think that's going to be the final. Granlund trade was a steal from Nashville. Oh, yeah, Nashville got a sick deal. Granlund's a good player. Fiala's good, but like Granlund's real good. Vegas going to regret this trade in the future. I think Branstrom going to be as good as Klingberg or OEL. Yeah, I did like the trade for both sides, though. You got to remember, I think Vegas knows that they can be a little bit expendable when it comes to their blue line because they wanted more forward scoring help. And I don't know, I like the trade for Ottawa too. Got a real good prospect. Columbus might as well buy the Ottawa Senators. Yeah, I thought for a second Stone might end up there too. Granlund is underrated, I would say. He's very underrated. Branstrom, I've talked about him a lot in the stream. I think he's a great prospect, good defensive numbers and good scoring numbers. Yeah, and Tyler, Moore, it's going to be Patan and Moore on that fourth line. There's going to be some juggling because I think Moore has a real shot to stay on this team. All right, I'm going to be on here for like another 10 minutes. There's been a lot of questions here. I'm not sure how many people are watching right now. We got 65 people in here. Thank you very much. Excuse me. If you are watching this right now, make sure to click that like button. I'd really appreciate that. All you got to do is click like. Excuse me. Nashville has to be the new favorite to win the cup with their moves. I mean, they've got to be at least one of the favorites. I do like them. I think they're quite good. Drew, what's going on, man? Here's the most important question out of all of this. When will Victor Mete finally score his first goal? I like Victor Mete. I think it's got to come soon. I haven't been paying attention to him too much, but I think he's an impressive player. You do great on the Steve Dangle podcast, dude. Thanks, Max. I really do appreciate that. Tyler, don't apologize. I knew I kind of figured what you were. I figured it out after I was reading more comments, so no worries about that. My favorite Leafs player is Mitch Marner, but I do have an Austin Matthews shirt because it was on sale, but just got a Patrick Kane shirt yesterday. All those guys are good players. You can hear my dog in the background. I apologize. But yeah, all great players that you just got shirts of there and that are your favorite. Vegas losing Branstrom and Suzuki in one season. Yeah, but, they still got Cody Glass. I know they had to make those trades for the players that they got. Muzzin and Riley looked good together, and I don't understand why Babcock went back with Hainsey. Hainsey looked good with Dermott. he loves Hainsey. He just wants to play Hainsey on the top pairing. Like, I don't even have an answer anymore. He just loves Hainsey. Like, I don't know why he does it, but I wouldn't. I just wouldn't. Who do you think made the worst trades today? That Granlund trade is very, very weird for Minnesota, but I don't know. I think there was some overpayments. I think Philly should have gotten more for Simmonds if they would have traded him earlier in the season. But again, I think that Granlund trade shocked a lot of people because he's real good. Frederik Andersen must play like he has never played before the Leafs to beat Boston. Yeah, I think he's real good. We can't just rely on Freddie all the time. So do you think the Blue Jackets can win this season? They've got a real good team. They got a good shot. Do you think the Pens get in the playoffs this year? Of course, they're the Penguins. They're going to find a way in no matter what. Will a player drafted by Vegas ever play for them, or will they just trade everyone? It appears that they might just trade everyone. No, of course not. I think that now that they've made these big moves, I think they're going to want to hold on to their prospects. Sharks became more like a great white. The Sharks are a very good team, Eugene. I mean, they're fantastic. Samir, love your vids, man. I want to know your thoughts on the Coyle and Marcus Johansson pickup. Thank you very much, and I do appreciate that, Samir. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. But Coyle and Marcus Johansson, or Johansson, however they pronounce it, both really solid pickups. You know, Coyle has been a little bit underrated, but Johansson, of course, is a guy that adds a lot of depth. He hasn't been having a career year, but he's a former two-time 20-goal scorer, so I think they'll be fine, and those are good pickups. Penn's defense is weak this year. Yep, and they just picked up Goodbranson. So, or did they pick up Goodbranson? Where did Goodbranson end up? I think he did end up in Pittsburgh. So, I don't know. They made a couple questionable moves, and Chris Weidman. Yeah, they got Weidman and Goodbranson. So that's kind of a weird blue line thing. What podcast was that name? The Steve Dangle podcast? Is that what you were talking about? At least Montour isn't playing tonight. Yeah, Montour was a pretty decent pickup, but I went and looked at his extended numbers, and his defensive numbers aren't actually that great. For the sake of memes, I want Zaitsev and Ozhiganov to get some time together. Yeah, I guess that would be some memes. It would be pretty funny. Great work, man. Love your analysis on your videos. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much, Danish or Danish. I don't want to mispronounce your name, but I really do appreciate that. Who won the Pearson trade? It's kind of a wash. Goodbranson for Pearson. They're both got a couple years left at a not very good salary. They both could click on either team. I don't know. I think it was just kind of a wash trade. All right, so I'm going to stop answering questions here in a second after Dylan's question about the Kings. Do you think the Hawks get in the playoffs? No, unfortunately, I don't think they do. Tampa Bay may have been the smartest. Yep, they didn't want to sacrifice any more of their future, and they wanted to keep the chemistry together. I know many Finnish people are Minnesota fans because of Koivu and Granlund. I don't think they really like that trade. Of course not, because they want to stick with, you know, the team that they like, and Granlund has been very good for them. Pens turn Hagelin into Goodbranson. Unfortunately. Do you think the Leafs should have done more? Or sorry, the Kings. What I always think of the Leafs. The Kings, no. The Kings are just going to do more stuff in the summer. So, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. Check out all the other videos. I posted 3 videos earlier recapping some trades today. I really do appreciate you guys coming in here and supporting the channel on a live stream. Of course, it's been probably what, like half hour, something like that. I don't even remember. But anyways, 51 people watching. I do appreciate you guys. Sorry, the whole hobo bros. I just showed up. I'm so sorry. But the Leafs game is starting at 7, I believe. Go Leafs, go if you're a Leafs fan. If not, we got Zach and you're saying go Hawks. If you haven't liked the stream, please do so. I'd really appreciate it. Lots of more videos coming up, of course, with the trade deadline over. I'll probably look at next week who won the trade deadline, even though we talked about it quite a lot here. But lots of other videos coming up. Again, I keep saying it, but I do appreciate you guys a lot. And, yeah, Berkey from Sweden. But, again, yeah, guys, I'm sorry. I got to go. Very busy. I've been busy all day. I'm very tired. But you guys are awesome. Thanks for stopping in. And I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Peace.